Good morning. It is I, Eric Arnold, here in the politics barn. Early morning. It's probably about 4 in the morning here on Saturday, the 31st of October. Well, I promised all my new subscribers, all my new friends who have been so gracious to subscribe here in the last week, wanted to get something for you. I told you I would, and here I am. Why Trump is going to win. That's what you want to hear, right? I like I said in a previous video, I sent some nervousness out there. People were nervous. Oh my goodness, I don't know. He's behind. What are we going to do? He's going to lose. He's not going to lose. He's not going to lose. He's going to win. Now, why should you listen to me? Well, now that's a good question. I do know a little bit about it, you know. For one thing, the politics barn is located in the great state of Pennsylvania, the keystone state on the knife's edge of this election. Probably whoever wins this state, winner takes all. President's coming to town here today, coming to Berks County here today. So I probably won't go. College football to watch, but very important state. So I live here. I'm on the ground, boots on the ground. I also have a poli-sci degree and a history degree from the Ohio State University. So I do know a little bit about it. So let me give it to you. See if any of this makes sense to you. And I want to try to break this down into as neutral terms as possible. You know, in other words, I don't want to make it, well, Joe Biden can't win because everybody knows that if you raise taxes, everyone hates that, and universal health care is unpopular. We don't want that. You know, I'm not going to focus on their policy promises or pronouncements so much. I'm trying to keep it in a macro kind of level. So let's do Biden. What's Biden got going for him? You know, as I say, I'm like Vito Corleone. I insist on knowing bad news first and immediately. And so that's what we're going to do here. Biden. Primarily, he's got the polls. I mean, that's what he's got going for him. Everybody's being told by these experts that are clearly smarter than we are, the Nate Silvers of the world, that this is over. I mean, 80–90% chance Biden wins. Just look at these polls. They're all saying the same thing. How can we, the Trump people, hope to compete? So you know, we got to hand it to them that they've got us nervous, right? You know, we're behind according to the polls. Money. Now, you might not know this, but I don't know where Joe Biden's getting all his money, but he has got it. He is absolutely burying Donald Trump on the airwaves here in Pennsylvania. And, you know, all things being equal, it's not good. You know, I'd rather Trump was burying Biden with commercials. That ain't the case. It doesn't matter what channel you turn on. There's a Biden commercial. I mean, there's something there. I'd say it's 5-1 Biden versus Trump on the airwaves here in PA. I don't know what it's like in Michigan or Wisconsin, but here in Pennsylvania, Biden's burying Trump. So that's bad. That's bad. Lastly, what's Biden got going for him? This virus. If it wasn't for this virus, Trump would be reelected easily. But the virus, it's thrown everything up in the air. I don't know how you could say it's anything other than bad. And, you know, that's you know, kind of basically Joe Biden's pitch is whatever's bad in your life, he will make it better. You know, did you get up this morning and found that you were overweight? I know I did. Did you find out that you have bad breath and are prematurely balding? Well, by God, that's Donald Trump's fault. We all know he's bad. He's the worst. But if you vote for me, your breath will not stink anymore because I'm Joe Biden and I'll make it all okay. So, he's all things to all people, and especially on this virus, he has some magic plan that'll make it go away. Um, let's face it. I mean, if people are mad about the virus, they could take it out on Trump. They could say, that guy, it's his fault. So these are things Biden has going for him. Now, why is Trump going to win? That's what you want to hear. Well, let's look at the polls here. The polls are wrong, basically. Trump has to win these states. These are all ones he won in 2016, all ones that the legacy media polls tell us he's trailing in. Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, Georgia, even Iowa. Now, when I say legacy media polls, you have basically, I'll say, three kind of polls. You have the media polls, Fox News, CNN, Washington Post, NBC/Wall Street Journal. Then you get the university polls, Quinnipiac, Monmouth, Emerson. Here in PA, we got Franklin and Marshall. What do legacy media and universities have in common? Right, they're populated with rabid leftists. So who do you think runs these polls? I don't even know if they try to be wrong. I think it's simply that they just can't help themselves. They're hardwired to surround themselves with people like themselves. I think, and this is a guess as a poli-sci grad, the polls undercount the uneducated, if you will, the non-college educated. I don't think they always skew left. In other words, I don't know that the Republican is always underrepresented. I'll give you an example. In 2012, the polls told us basically that Mitt Romney was going to beat Barack Obama, that Romney was up near the end of that election cycle. Now, we all blame it on the hurricane, and suddenly then Barack Obama surged from behind because of the hurricane. No, it bullshit. Barack Obama was never behind in that race. The polls overestimated Romney's voters. How did it do that? Well, they overestimate the college educated. They oversample those people. Those are the easiest people to find. Those are people that like taking surveys and polls and such. They love talking to people on the phone and telling them how smart we are. Yeah, I'll take a poll. Let me take your poll. Absolutely. They always underrepresent the common man, the working man, the guy in the street, the non-college educated. Well, in 2012, who was the non-college educated guy voting for? It wasn't Mitt Romney. It was Barack Obama. So the Obama support was hidden, much like the Trump support is hidden now. The man in the street is not voting for Joe Biden as just the same as he wasn't voting for Hillary Clinton in 2016. So I view it as the same. I saw a transcript of an interview tonight on Hannity. I think the Trafalgar, that's the third type of polling outfit, the private company that is trying to actually get the poll correct and not, some of these polls like, the legacy media, the college polls, I'm not confident that their goal is to get the poll correct. I think they may have ulterior motives where they want the poll to be skewed and wrong and make it look like their candidate is winning. It almost has to be that way sometimes with as wrong as these polls are. I'll give you an example. Franklin and Marshall, I mentioned. That's a small liberal arts college here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Their poll is run by a Democrat professor, Terry Madonna. He's been there for probably 30 years. Well, in 16, they came out with their final presidential poll here in Pennsylvania. I'm talking days before the election. It had Trump behind in Pennsylvania by 11 points. 11 points! 11 points. To refresh your memory, Donald Trump won the state of Pennsylvania by almost a point. So 12 points off. 12 points off just days before the election? That's incompetence on a scale that you should have been, I guess they don't fire people in colleges. Is that what they call it? Tenure? No matter how bad at your job is, you can't be fired? Is that how that works? In my industry, you screw up that bad, my industry's trucking. You screw up that bad, you just ran over a family of 6. And we go to jail for that sort of thing. Not in polling, apparently. So the polls, these legacy media polls, they're just wrong. So here, Trafalgar, like I said, the head of I don't think I finished my story. Trafalgar's boss was on Hannity, and I saw a transcript of that, and he was explaining that he thought these legacy media polls had not adjusted since 16. In other words, they got it way wrong in 16. So now, of course, is it possible that they all went, we screwed up. Let's figure out a way to mix our polls a little better so we get a better result. He says, I don't think he did. I don't think they did it either. I think they're running the same playbook they did in 16. If they had made changes, we'd know about it. They'd be telling us. They'd be all over the place. Well, now we understand we screwed up in 16, but the polls are right this time because we are looking for the man in the street that's always undercounted in these polls. Well, they're not saying that. They're not saying that at all. So I think they're using the exact same playbook that they did in 16. The Trafalgar boss says the same thing I'm saying. Let's face it, if the Trafalgar guy's wrong, we're all screwed. If he's either right and we win, or he's wrong and we lose. I think he's right. Trafalgar has Trump way ahead in all these states, and that includes Arizona and Florida and North Carolina. He's probably up 4 in Arizona, Florida, North Carolina, way ahead in Georgia and Iowa. So then we got to take one of these. We need Pennsylvania, Michigan, or Wisconsin. For some reason, Wisconsin, that sounds like that one, for some reason, is harder to get. I'm not sure why. Honestly, I think Trump is behind here in Pennsylvania by a little bit. I just get a feeling Trump is going to do well with the traditional Trump voters. We're turning out the white, non-college educated people. I know, college educated. I told you had a degree from Ohio State, but I'm voting for Trump too, of course. So the non-college educated people, believe me, they're going to be there. I can tell you that just by the number of Trump signs around the county here, around the township I've seen. But Trump is not going to do well down in Montgomery, Chester County, the suburbs. I think he's going to bleed a little support that he had in 16. Maybe just bleed a little bit of support there. But one positive, we're already seeing signs in the media based on early voting and whatnot. Some of the traditional demographic that favored the Democrats, Hispanics, they're not turning out. They're not turning out. I've seen all kind of articles about that. They're not turning out in Florida. I saw an AP article about Texas where they looked at the early voting patterns in Texas. The Rio Grande Valley, that's all heavy Hispanic Democrat there. They're not turning out yet. It's possible they all show up on election day, but that would be not the norm, if you will. In other words, it's, I think, pretty well accepted that the Democrats vote early and then the Republicans show up on election day. I think that's probably what we can expect this time, especially this time. I mean, there is a definite schism in this country as far as how we view the virus. I mean, the Democrats hide. I guess they've convinced themselves that this is Armageddon, as if that's somehow going to get Joe Biden elected. And they're afraid of the virus. And then the Republicans, I mean, frankly, I don't give a damn. And I think a lot of other Republicans are just the same way. I'm not a Republican, I'm a libertarian. I really don't give a damn. But we're going to be there on Tuesday. I guarantee you that. So I think that, it's going to be close here in PA. The good news is I think that Trump is up in Michigan. I think Michigan is going to be an easier win for Trump than Pennsylvania. Now, why do I say that? One reason, I think the governor in Michigan is more hated than our governor here in Pennsylvania. And I find that hard to believe because I cannot stand this guy here in Pennsylvania. I don't want this to devolve into a virus rant, but apparently Gretchen, what's her name up there, is the Wicked Witch of the West, and she is really disliked by Michigan people. And then you have a Senate race where they have a very good candidate running on the GOP ticket. Now look, I don't know the first thing about the guy other than he's African American, he's under 40, he ran 2 years ago against a very popular incumbent, Stabenow, and he was close. He was close. This guy with no name recognition came out of nowhere and came within 6.5 points of beating Debbie Stabenow. Come on now. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now he's back again 2 years later, and that was in a Democrat year. 2018 was a Democrat year, and now he's coming back. I think Trump is going to benefit from this guy being on the ticket. An African American, he's going to pull a few black votes with him to Trump. So that is going to help Trump. I think it's more likely than not that Trump takes Michigan before he takes Pennsylvania. I think his percentage of Michigan will be higher than whatever he pulls here in PA. So, we could actually lose PA and still win the election, because I think he's going to get Michigan. Frankly, I think he's going to get a lot of these states. So let's talk some other macro things here. I got into the nitty-gritty of some polls here. We got the economy. That's always an incumbent topic. Is the economy good? Is the economy bad? How does this affect the incumbent? I mean, the incumbents almost always win elections in this country. We return congressmen to their jobs 95% of the time, maybe even more than that. We just resist change in this country. I know I do. Think about all our sayings that we have. Better the devil you know than the devil you don't know. Don't change horses in midstream. Grass is not always greener on the other side of the fence, or it is always greener. Well, I guess it's basically a saying, you always think it's better over there, but it's not. Dance with who brung you. We resist change. We like incumbents. I mean, the number of one-term presidents we've had since 1900, not that many. Really not that many. I mean, you've got William Howard Taft. That was in 1912. He lost because Teddy Roosevelt split the party. He lost. Then you had Herbert Hoover in 1932. That was the Great Depression, worst economic times, worse than anything we've ever lived through. So that was the end of Herbert Hoover. Then you got Jimmy Carter, of course. Oil embargo. What is the oil embargo? I'm going to say no on that. Just high gas prices. But of course, we had the hostages. We had the hostages, and then we weren't going to the Olympics because Carter pulled us out of the Olympics, that sort of stuff. Unpopular dude. And he was running against a very popular challenger in Reagan. And then George the Elder, George Bush won. Bad economy. Ross Perot split the party. So these are our four losers. Well, I don't know Trump has a whole lot in common with any of those. he's not that unpopular. Yes, there are some people that hate this guy, hate this guy. I just had a number of beers with a Democrat, you know, my new friend Kevin, not his real name, who, you know, we just shared some political views over some beers tonight, and it was an eye opener for me. Kevin hates Donald Trump, but then again, so was Reagan. He was hated. FDR was hated, not by everybody, but by a certain percentage of the country. Well, you know, guys like Jimmy Carter, they were hated, but they were basically just disliked by damn near everybody. Um, yeah, I thought about this. Basically, the cycle since 1900 is one party will have the White House for at least 8 years. You know, have it for at least 8 years. Then they turn it over to the other party. Then they've got it for at least 8 years. Then they turn it over in, you know, 8-year stretches. And very rarely does it go where there's 8 years and then 4 years and then the other party gets it right back. And I think the only place I found that happened was there in 1980 with Jimmy Carter, where the Republicans had it since 68 up to 76. Then Carter took it for 4 years, and he should have had it for more than 4 years, but he got beat because he was so unpopular. I don't think Trump's anywhere near that unpopular. No way. No way. I remember 1980. Carter, yeah, he was not liked at all. Very unpopular. I wish I could remember the speech from Patton at the beginning of the movie where George C. Scott goes on about Americans love a winner, because that's what Donald Trump is. He's a winner. He's a winner. He's run for president once, and he won. Everyone laughed at him, said he was a joke, and he just went ahead and showed them all and won. Whereas Joe Biden, he's lost at least twice. I would argue more than that. But 88, he ran for president, had a half-decent chance, but flamed out because he was found to plagiarize whole sections of his speeches from old politicians like Robert Kennedy or Neil Kinnock, who's not even an American politician. Who does that? I mean, are you personally that stupid or lazy that you don't have people that can write your own speeches for you and not rip them off from other politicians? Anyway, he, you know, in today's media, he'd be golden because no one would check him. I could do a whole riff on that, but don't want the video to be too long. And then he lost in 08 when he ran up against Obama and Hillary Clinton. He never had a chance there. I would argue he was a 3-time loser, because if he was that great of a candidate, he would have run in 16. Now, you know, in fairness, his son did die of brain cancer in 15. So, yeah, I mean, maybe he didn't have it in him. But I tell you what, though, I argue this. If he was a slam dunk for the Democrat nomination in 16, he would have run. He would have run, absolutely. He didn't run because Hillary Clinton was going to clean his clock, and he knew it. So he didn't run in 16. So now it's his turn. We're dragging him out of retirement and recycling him. Americans don't vote for these kind of politicians. God, I mean, how many times did the Republican Party do this sort of thing? Did John McCain win? Gee, did Bob Dole win? Of course not. These "it's my turn" guys, they never win. I was going to say something, well, that's the thing. When you talk off the top of your head, you lose thoughts. Joe Biden's old. I mean, you know, he's got to, do we elect old candidates? No, we generally don't. You know, I guess they're both old, so but one looks old, one acts old. That goes down here to energy. I mean, which one is running around the country trying to win, and which one looks like he's almost like his wife has a gun to his head saying, you got to go out there and campaign today. Trump looks like he wants to be president, like he likes being president. Joe Biden is just kind of there. They don't vote for, how to say this, candidates that win have people going out voting for them. Candidates that lose are candidates that are on the ballot opposite somebody else that you're voting against. In other words, I've got a Facebook friend here in the township. He's got a sign that says, "Fire the liar," which, you know, I assume it means Trump. Well, that's great and all, Rich, but, you know, people don't, that's not a winning slogan, "Fire the liar." There's another sign across the river. It says, any adult other than Donald Trump, you know, any functioning adult other than Donald Trump. Again, not a winning slogan. People, that's not inspirational. That's not going to bring them out of their houses to go vote for that. You know, there'll be people that'll vote against, you know, oh, you know, it could be Bozo the Clown on the ballot. I'm going to vote for Bozo the Clown. Yeah, well, a lot of people aren't, you know. Only the true haters are going to, that's going to get the true haters out, but then they were going to be out anyway. You know, if you're going to win, you got to have people wanting to vote for your candidate. And that goes here to enthusiasm. You know, how many people are you seeing at these Biden rallies? They're jokes. They're Saturday Night Live skits. It's people sitting in lawn chairs with a duct tape circle around it. It's crazy. It's crazy. Honestly, if those people weren't using the virus as an excuse not to go to these rallies, I wonder what they would draw. 500 people, 1,000, I wonder. I mean, Trump, if there were no virus restrictions, if you handed Trump the keys and said, all right, go do what you want, he could sell out stadiums. I think he could go down to Philadelphia and he'd damn near sell the link out. 60,000 people down there to see him. I don't think Biden could do that. I don't think he could do that on his best day. You know, again, people want to vote for Trump. You could get together a number of people that hate Trump, but I don't think you could get them all in a stadium together. Just say, let's go Biden. We got name recognition. I mean, that sounds stupid, but, you know, we all know these candidates. I mean, we're all politicos here, right? I mean, you must be. You're in my politics barn. What are you doing here if you're not a politico? But this election may be decided by non-politicos, people who have never voted before, people that could give a damn about politics. But they probably know who Donald Trump is. And Donald Trump showed us in the primaries in 2016, there is no such thing as bad publicity. There is no such thing as bad publicity. He was a joke. They made fun of him. But he got his name just splashed all over the media. He took all the air out of the room. Any other candidate that wanted to talk about policies or whatever, nobody, the media didn't want to talk about that at all. All they wanted to do is talk about Donald Trump because he brought the ratings. You know, that's another reason he's going to win. I mean, the guy's a star. He puts asses in the seats. He is a star. And that's another way of saying he puts votes in the voting box. Then we got the betting markets. The betting markets. Now, I said I think Nate Silver has it probably like at a 90-10 deal here, where Trump has about a 10% chance of winning. My bookie right now has it at Biden minus 180, Trump plus 155. Now, without going into what that means, that basically means Biden has about a 60% chance of winning and Trump has about a 40% chance of winning, which is definitely better than 10. And frankly, I think it's higher than that. I think you're getting good value there with Trump. So these are all ways of saying, I think Trump is looking pretty good on Tuesday. I feel pretty comfortable that this is going to be a decent win here for Trump. One of the tools I've been playing around with, I just discovered this within the last day or so. It's called the swingometer. It's on Charlie Cook's political website, Cook Political Report. It's called the swingometer, which almost like right away that name drew me in. It's like, what is this? And it's pretty cool. It's like one of those electoral vote maps. It's a map of the United States, and you get each state is there, and it's either red or it's blue. And then on the left side of the map are demographic groups. You got your non-college educated white, college educated white, African American, Hispanic, Asian. So you can then put a little slider there as far as percentage of the vote for each candidate. And then below that, the other piece of the puzzle is what will the turnout be for that each category, each demographic category. So 10 basic pieces of information. And it's really fascinating because if you move the thing just 1 or 2 percentage points one way or the other, the whole map changes. I mean, it goes from a Biden win to a Trump win if you just bring in just 2% more of this kind of demographic or change the turnout. I guess that's one of the ways one way to say that I really don't think this is going to be a contested election. I know you people are terrified of voter fraud, that the Democrats are going to steal it. I'm a little nervous here in Pennsylvania, just having lived the lockdown under Tom Wolf for the last however many months. Tom Wolf has the Secretary of State. He has the state Supreme Court in his pocket. He can do anything, really. And there's very little that the Republicans in this state can do. So I'm a little nervous about that. I'm a little nervous about, hundreds, if not thousands, of Biden votes showing up days after this election's over. But the thing is, it's going to have to be more than thousands of votes. It's going to have to be tens of thousands of votes. To give you an example, Trump won here in PA, and it was close. Within a point. It was within a point. 40,000 votes he won by. That's a lot of votes. I mean, it's a lot of work to fake these votes, I think. And I just don't think that they're that organized. In other words, we always bestow upon our enemies these mythical superpowers that we think they have, that we're all afraid of them. But in reality, I mean, look at these people. I mean, they couldn't even count the votes in their own damn caucus in Iowa. It took them 3 days to count the votes. They couldn't even count votes. What makes us think that they're going to be able to efficiently gin up fake votes in the percentages, the volume that it's going to take to steal an election? It's not that I don't think they might try it. I don't think they're competent enough to pull it off. So yeah, I think we're getting all worked up maybe a little about nothing. I don't think it's going to be that close. Look, we're either going to be right, this Robert Cahaley and Trafalgar, and the way I see it, he and we're either going to be right or we're going to be wrong. It's either going to be a big Trump win or it's going to be a big Biden win. I don't think it's going to fall right on that razor's edge, and they'll be fighting in the streets with the children on our feet. I don't think that's going to happen. Thank God, because I really don't think that's good for anybody. I really don't think it is. I would be perfectly okay if we could get a Trump win, and then I figure we got 4 years to maybe try to mend some fences. And like my new friend Kevin, the Democrat that I was having some beer with tonight, I don't think he's a Marxist, but you know, he is certainly backing right down the line Marxist politicians. And I'm just wondering, it's like, how do I get this guy not to be Marxist? How do I get this guy? Where's the middle ground? There's got to be some middle ground here before we are fighting in the streets. So I'm hoping we get another 4 years to figure that out, and we don't have to figure it out in, like, you know, March of next year. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I feel probably 75, 80% sure I'm right. You know, New Democrats. Let's see. Wyoming won tonight. That broke a 10-game losing streak on football. So a guy that just lost 10 straight goddamn football games in a row is telling you that Trump's going to win. So you got to feel pretty good about that. You know, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I mean, he couldn't. I think the sun is going to come up in the east here in an hour or two. I think. I might be right about that. Well, we'll find out. I mean, it's almost over. I'm relieved, frankly. But it's almost over. I think most of the votes have already been cast. So Tuesday, they'll count them up. I think we're going to know pretty much right away, just like normal. I don't think this is going to be some drug out thing. And then we'll see where we see where we are. Look, I hope you liked the video. If you disagree, you think that Biden's going to win, hey, put it in the comments. I mean, let's face it. We ain't going to have to wait long. We're going to know pretty quick who's going to win. So we'll find out who's right and who's wrong. Again, hit the like button if you think that this video was worth your time. I do appreciate all you new subscribers, and I am going to try to get you the occasional politics video. My first love is still sports, but I feel somewhat obligated. It's like, wow, 250 people want to hear what I have to say. Okay, I'll do the best I can. Thanks, I appreciate it. I hope we helped you out here. I hope you feel just that much better, sleep a little better, that Trump's gonna win. It's okay, Trump's gonna win. And like my father says, well, it's gonna be a McGovern blowout, unless he loses. So that kind of covers it all. Thanks, and I'll see you again. Eric Arnold signing off.